damaging nature by not understanding how much we depend on that nature is a separate thing from us and we can just exploit. We owe her the most heartfelt debt any family could owe to their mother, understanding and example, a promise with destiny kept.
Just moments ago, a quiet royal decision sent shockwaves through Buckingham Palace, and this time, it didn't come with a press release or a grand ceremony. According to palace insiders, King Charles signed a private decree that may have erased Queen Camilla's family from any future royal influence. No announcement, no debate, just silence, and a single signature behind closed doors. And if the reports are true, this decision wasn't just unexpected, it was seismic. What triggered the king to act without warning? Why was Camilla completely left in the dark? And how does Princess Charlotte, of all people, factor into the most unexpected royal shakeup of the decade? The full story is more dramatic than fiction, and you'll want to watch until the end. It began with an ordinary afternoon at the Queen's Gallery in Buckingham Palace, a room often used for quiet meetings, surrounded by portraits and royal heirlooms. But on this day, it became the site of a turning point in royal history. Behind locked doors, a small group gathered: King Charles, Princess Anne, and Prince William. No staff, no fanfare. The mood, according to one insider, was tense, unusually so. A senior aide allegedly stepped back in disbelief when Charles pulled out a sealed document. Within moments, the king placed a signature at the bottom of the page, turned to Anne, and quietly handed it to her with 2 words: "It's done." And with that, everything changed. What was this document? It reportedly removed any ceremonial or symbolic standing Queen Camilla's children might have had within the royal orbit. Tom Parker Bowles and Laura Lopez, who have never held titles but have often been seen at royal functions, were quietly and decisively shut out. No explanation was given, no discussion permitted. But the most disturbing part? Camilla, the queen consort, had no idea it was coming. Just minutes after the decree was signed, Camilla was seen leaving the palace. Witnesses said she looked ghost-like, pale, shaken, and visibly rattled. For a woman who has mastered composure through decades of public scrutiny, this was not her usual presence. One bystander described it bluntly. She looked like she had just seen a ghost, and maybe she had. The queen had been blindsided, and the whispers among staff suggested something even more chilling. She may have been on her way to the meeting when the document was finalized, missing the decision by mere moments. So why now? Why, after years of standing beside Camilla through controversy and criticism, would Charles act without even informing her? The answer, reportedly, lies in something unearthed from the past: a letter. Not just any letter, but one written by Princess Diana and sealed in Queen Elizabeth's private archives. It was recently discovered during a quiet reorganization of royal records, and what it contained allegedly shook Charles to his core. In the letter, Diana expressed fears for the monarchy's future, particularly her sons' roles and the preservation of their place in the royal lineage. But there was something even more specific. She referenced the idea that if William ever had a daughter, her position must be safeguarded above all else. Diana wrote that this child, this granddaughter she would never meet, could one day become the emotional anchor for the British public, the beating heart of the monarchy in a time of change. To Charles, reading those words years later, they weren't just memories. They were marching orders. And the timing, with Princess Charlotte stepping more into public life, felt like destiny. At that moment, Charles wasn't just acting as a father or a husband. He was acting as king. And the boundaries between personal loyalty and royal legacy became impossible to ignore. Camilla's children, while never part of the official succession, had been increasingly visible in royal life, attending major events, sitting in prominent seats, smiling for cameras beside the crown. To the public, it looked innocent. To insiders, it looked deliberate. Some believe Camilla was quietly positioning her children for lasting symbolic roles, ones that might grow over time. Not everyone was comfortable with this, especially Prince William and Princess Catherine. According to multiple reports, they've long been protective of their children's status, particularly Charlotte's. The thought of non-royal bloodlines edging closer to royal visibility reportedly stirred deep discomfort behind the scenes. For those who believe in preserving the monarchy structure, Camilla's subtle moves may have crossed a line. So, Charles made a choice. In private, with no warning, and no space for reversal. Some insiders say the king's demeanor during the signing was calm, eerily calm. Others say he looked almost haunted, as if carrying the emotional weight of both Diana's memory and Camilla's loyalty. Regardless, when the ink dried, the message was clear. The monarchy was drawing a firm boundary, and Camilla's family was now on the outside. But Queen Camilla was never one to back down quietly. Within hours of discovering the signed decree, she reportedly confronted Charles in a private audience. She didn't beg. She didn't plead. She confronted. "You were never loyal," she is said to have told him. Her tone wasn't angry, but furious beneath the surface. Not just about the decision itself, but about the betrayal, the silence, and the erasure of a future she had carefully tried to build for her children. And then came the most shocking detail. Camilla, according to one insider, hinted at private documents, letters, conversations, and moments from Charles's past that, if exposed, could fracture the royal image beyond repair. The next day, whispers began surfacing across European media circles. No interviews, no statements, but enough movement to suggest Camilla had activated her own network. The monarchy, already rattled, scrambled to contain what could easily become a media inferno. And in the midst of a storm, one figure began to quietly rise: Princess Charlotte. At just 9 years old, she has become one of the most beloved members of the royal family. Her composed demeanor at public events, her effortless charm, her resemblance to Princess Diana. It's no coincidence that the public has embraced her as the emotional heart of the next generation. And some royal watchers now believe that Charles's decree wasn't just about Camilla's family. It was about clearing the path for Charlotte to rise, free of confusion, competition, or blurred bloodlines. Charlotte is not just a symbol of continuity. She's a symbol of healing, a child who carries the weight of the past but stands confidently in the present. Every photo of her goes viral. Every appearance draws headlines. And for a monarchy desperate to modernize while still honoring its legacy, she may be the perfect figure to bridge those worlds. But not everyone agrees with Charles's decision. While some praise it as a return to tradition, others see it as a cold dismissal of a woman who weathered decades of public abuse for the crown's sake. Camilla's children, who were never given titles or power, are now reportedly meeting with legal advisors. They're not challenging succession because they were never officially in line. But they may contest their removal from ceremonial privileges and public association. If this turns into a legal fight, it could expose more than anyone is prepared for. Inside the palace, tension simmers. Charles has been seen walking alone on the grounds, quieter than usual. Some say this is the loneliest phase of his reign. Others say it's the most decisive. Meanwhile, William and Catherine continue stepping into more central roles, emphasizing transparency, stability, and family. And Charlotte, she's not just in the background anymore. She's becoming the crown's unexpected secret weapon, a modern heir to Diana's spirit, wrapped in innocence and resilience. As for Camilla, her next move remains unclear. Will she speak? Will she retreat? Or will she let the quiet pressure of her discontent shape the narrative over time? What happens now could determine whether this was a momentary storm or the beginning of a deeper fracture behind the palace gates. Because while the ink has dried, the consequences have not. And the crown, once again, stands at a crossroads. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Was Charles right to act so decisively? Or has he pushed the monarchy into dangerous territory? And if you want more exclusive royal drama, hit subscribe and join us next time, because there's always more to the story, and we'll be here to break it down, one royal secret at a time.